Hey y'all, I know it's been a really hot minute since I have been on YouTube, but you know, life gets in the way, and you're gonna see why in this video. I am pregnant, and I have always wanted to do like makeup and baby stuff. I just feel like that's so fun because I really enjoy watching both on YouTube. Those kind of videos get me excited, so hopefully these videos will get other people excited. But in this video, I'm just going to do like my normal routine of what I've been using for my makeup. This is the products that I use literally every day, just for my go-to makeup. I'm going to run some errands in town. I gotta go grocery shopping and do all that. So I just did my everyday makeup that I do every single day, and I'll show you the products that I use. And also I tell you about pregnancy, how I found out I was pregnant, my symptoms, all of that jazz. So yeah, if you want to see how I found out I was pregnant and see like my current favorite products to use for my makeup, stay tuned and watch this video. It is a long one, so go ahead and grab a snack or a coffee like me, and I hope you enjoy it. And I will have many more videos to come, but like I said, and at the end of this video, I probably won't post another video until like December, because that's when my baby shower will be. So then I can come on here and show you guys like all the stuff that I got. But yeah, I'm really excited to be back, and I really hope you enjoy this video, and I look forward to posting more baby / makeup content for you guys. So I hope you guys have a great day, and thank you so much for watching the video. Okay, so I already have my face primed with my moisturizer. I use the CeraVe Ultra Light moisturizing lotion in the SPF of 30. I put that on every time I do my makeup, no matter what. Then I'm gonna go in with the NYX Marshmallow Primer. I really love this stuff. You don't need a lot. I love the way it smells, and I just kind of focus it where my pores are. Okay, so I have my phone right here to kind of like with my notes, to kind of keep me on track. So when did I find out I was pregnant? Well, found out in June. I was in a master's program. I decided to do this last minute. It was like a random Sunday morning. I had woke up, I was drinking my coffee, and I was just like looking at the master's programs at our college right here at Nichols. And I was like, I always told myself that I wouldn't go for a master's because sadly in education, it doesn't give you that much of a pay raise. And really the only benefit to it is if you want to get out of the classroom. And I thought for sure that I didn't want to. But a part of me was like, I knew Tyler and I were going to start trying to start a family. And a part of me told myself that if there is ever a day that you don't want to teach anymore and you want to do more with your career, having this in your back pocket you're going to be so thankful you did it. And the course was only a year and a half. And with everything going on with like COVID and like virtual and stuff, I figured why not? Like for the majority, I'll probably be stuck at home just in case there was another like wave of COVID. I figured schools might shut down again. That wasn't the case, but that's okay. We still made it through. And I decided to do it because I told myself if you don't do it now, you never will, especially if you have a baby. So do it while you still can. And honestly, it was the best decision of my life. I learned so much. I did not go to school for education, so I learned so freaking much, so much about education that like I never really knew before, because I didn't go to school for it. So it was really nice being able to learn about school while being a teacher, because I didn't have that background to begin with. So once I finished school in May, I graduated in May of this year, and Tyler and I were ready to go. We knew that as soon as I finished school, or I was close to finishing school, our next journey was going to be a baby. That was in the plan. That's what we had thought about for months. So that was the plan. I'm going in with the Infallible L'Oreal 24-Hour Fresh Wear Foundation. I'm just taking it on a beauty blender. This one's from e.l.f. So, yes, graduation rolled around in May, and that was kind of our next adventure. That was the next step in our lives. So we actually started trying in April. Because I knew I was set to graduate in May. Everything was, working out. So, I didn't want to wait any longer. Like, once I knew I had the okay that I was graduating, I went ahead and, we made that decision. So, we started trying in April. So, May was... I got my period in May, so it didn't work out the first time. I didn't let myself get discouraged because I'm like, it's literally the first time we tried. I knew that, my body was ready because I had actually gotten off of birth control in March of 2020. So, I had been off of birth control for a year. When we had made our second wedding anniversary, I told Tyler, I was like, look, I'm not refilling my prescription because it was at the point where I would have to go to the doctor. She would have to refill it and do the whole year again. So I told him once my year was up, I wasn't going to do it. And the year was up in February for me, February of 2020. So he knew that for a long time I wasn't going to be on birth control. So we just were going to have to be careful. But come May of this year, I got my period. Didn't really get discouraged, but you're always hopeful because you're looking for it, whereas before you don't think twice about it. We tried again in May, and then here comes June. Positive pregnancy test. So yeah, let me go ahead and tell you how I found out I was pregnant. Okay, so now I'm going in with my Clinique concealer, Even Better concealer in the shade Linen. Let me get my phone. June rolls around. It's a weekend. It's a Sunday. It's actually the weekend before Father's Day. Father's Day was that following weekend. I was sitting on the couch. This was mid-morning, maybe 8, 9 o'clock. Tyler and I were sitting on the couch, just kind of we had the TV on, we were playing on our phones. It was a lazy Sunday. And I just kind of had the urge to go test because I knew on that Sunday it started the 6 days before my period. Because I was supposed to start my period, I think that Friday or Saturday, the following Friday or Saturday. I got up, didn't even tell Tyler I was going to take a test, and I took it. I took one of those Amazon, the cheap tests, so you can buy a box of them of 25. So I took one of those, and when I tell you I saw the faintest line. It was so, microscopic that you needed a freaking magnifying glass to see it. But I saw it. So I, ran in the front, and I was like, Tyler, I think I'm pregnant. And he looked at me, and he was like, no, you're not. And I was like, no, I'm serious. I just want to take a test. Come here. So he gets up, and he looks at the test, and he's like, I don't see anything. You're being, you're over-exaggerating. And I'm like, no, it's there. And what Tyler didn't understand was that even if you see a faint line, it's a high indication of pregnancy. Even if it's faint. If you see no line, of course, it's negative. But if there's a faint line and it's not a false positive, that is a extremely high indication that you are pregnant. And he didn't understand that. And he's like, no, it's a faint line. You're not pregnant. He thought that it had to be a solid line for you to see, that you were pregnant. So we kind of just brushed it off. I was like, okay, whatever. You don't believe me, whatever. So we kind of just went about our day. It was a lazy Saturday. We didn't really do much. And about 2 o'clock, I decided, it was 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I decided to go test again. So I didn't tell him I was going to test, and I went test again. And again, another faint line. So then I really started freaking out. I'm like, Tyler, there's another line. And he's like, Caroline, I don't see anything. You're not, I think you're being dramatic. You're making it in your head. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. There's 2 faint lines. Like, this doesn't happen. Like, this is an indication that I'm pregnant. Of course, him being a man, he brushed it off. He doesn't believe it, whatever, yada, yada, yada. He was like, we'll just test in a few days, whatever. And I was like, okay, but that Saturday, we had went to his mom's house that night for dinner. And when I walked into her house, I got the strongest scent of like rotting fruit. And I was like, when I first walked into her house, I was like, oh my God, what is that smell? It smelled like rotting fruit. And like, I was like a hound dog. Like, I followed the smell and it brought me to a cantaloupe. She had like a bowl of fruit on her countertop and it brought me to the cantaloupe. And like, literally that's what I was smelling. And I'm like, are you sure this fruit is still good? And she was like, yeah, like I just bought it. And I'm like, I don't know. You might want to like cut it open because it smells rotten. So she didn't cut it open because like they were cooking and stuff, and she was like, I don't know, Caroline, like I just bought it. I think it should be fine. So I was like, okay, whatever, but like it smells terrible. So I told y'all that I'm like, you don't remember how the smell was getting to me last night? And like he kind of like thought about it and he was like, but I don't think you're pregnant. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So we kind of just like didn't talk about it for the rest of the day. Like, kind of thought we might have been pregnant, but didn't really have like a definite on the pregnancy test because Tyler's like, you're not pregnant. I don't say anything. But I saw the 2 lines. Like, they were so faint. So then Monday, the following Monday, we both went to work and I decided to test some more. I'm using this Laura Mercier powder just to set my face. So Monday rolls around and I decide to test again. He told me, he was like, oh, why don't you just wait to test at the end of the week? Because I would have been closer to my missed period. And he was like, just wait. Like, you're gonna stress yourself out this whole week. And I was like, I'm already stressed out because I knew I was pregnant. Like, I knew. The smell, me being able to smell stuff freaked me out. And then also I was burping a lot, which I never do. That was like my first 2 symptoms. Like, the smell, the smell only hit me that one night that I went to his mom's house. Like, I hadn't had any issues with smell before. It was just that one night. But I had been burping a lot. Like, leading up, like the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, leading up to the Sunday, I was burping so much. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? Like, everything I ate and drank, I would just burp constantly. So I was like, something is weird. So I knew that I was pregnant. So after school, I went to the store and I got a first response test and I got a digital test. I took 2 of the first response because there was like 2 in a box, and then I got the 2 digital ones, but I did not use the second digital one. I only used 1 and I used the 2 first response. The second, I put the first response in that cup of pee. And granted, this is the afternoon. You know how they say you're supposed to test in the morning because your levels are higher? Well, this was the afternoon because, I had work that day. So I couldn't test in the morning. I could have tested. I did test in the morning. But the Amazon low strips tests were still super faint. Like, you could barely see the line, but the line was there. So that's when I went to the store to get the better quality test. So as soon as I put the first response in the pee, like, there were 2 lines. I could see it clear as day. There was no mistaking of it being a faint line. Like, I could see it. So then I did the second one, same thing. First response, like, picked up like that. I did the digital one, and strangely enough, the digital one came back not pregnant. So it kind of freaked me out because I was like, well, I don't know. I'm going to go in with my brows. I'm using just this Ulta Beauty brow tint. It's like a colored brow gel. I have to get up close to the camera, the mirror to do this, so I'll be right back. As I was saying, I took the digital one and it came back not pregnant. So I was like, okay, well, I think I'm still pregnant because at this point, I had 5 tests. I had the 3 little strips and then I had the 2 first response tests. So I had 5 tests with 2 lines. The first 3, yes, were super faint, but they were there. And the first response ones, you could definitely see the second line. So I was like, okay, I feel like I'm definitely pregnant. Maybe my hormones just weren't high enough to pick up on the digital. I ended up actually going to Walmart after I took these tests. I came home from work, took the test, went to Walmart and got like a little onesie to surprise Tyler. And I got some more tests. I got like the dollar store test that everyone says that they use at the doctor, which they do. So I got 2 of those. And when I got home, I took those, again, 2 lines. So I was like, okay, I'm pregnant. Like, I'm definitely pregnant. There's no way there's this many lines and I'm not pregnant. Like, I am pregnant. Even though Tyler kind of knew that I was testing, like, he still didn't believe it. So, like, he didn't know I was pregnant. So I still wanted to surprise him. So I went to Walmart, I got the onesie, and when he got home from work, I had surprised him with the onesie, like, on the counter, and I had all the pregnancy tests laid around it. And I did a little reaction video on my TikTok if you want to go watch it. He was genuinely shocked. At first, he was so confused. He was like, wait, what's happening? And I'm like, I don't understand what you don't understand. Like, because, like, in the video, you can even hear, like, you can see my mouth say, what do you mean? Because he's like, wait, I don't get it. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what is there not to get? It's literally, like, I had 7 pregnancy tests laid out around this onesie, and they all had double lines. Like, what is there not to get? Finally, it clicked for him, and we were just over the moon, ecstatic. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with my Too Faced Chocolate Soleil Bronzer. So, we both sat on the couch after and just, like, you know, was soaking it in. Like, couldn't believe it. We were scared. We didn't know what to do. Like I had said before, that weekend coming up was Father's Day weekend. So we were gonna surprise both of our parents then. But we both, like, were just, like, looking at each other and we were like, can we honestly wait a week? Like, we should have. But in the moment, we were just so excited that, like, we literally could not contain ourselves because we did not expect for us to get pregnant so soon. Like, we really didn't. So that Tuesday, the next day, was actually going to be his dad's birthday. So we were already grilling steaks that night for dinner because Tyler loves to grill. And he was like, what if we just invite my parents for, like, my dad's birthday tonight? And I was like, do you want to tell them that? Like, do we want to do this? Do we want to say something this fast, or do we want to wait? And we kind of were going back and forth, but we were like, no, you know what? Let's just do it. Because at this point, no one had plans for Father's Day. Like, nobody was doing anything. We weren't going to anyone's house. Just because at this time, like, COVID was still, like, the Delta variant was still very high up in the air at the moment. So, like, we just didn't know what we were going to do for the weekend. So we were like, let's just do it. Let's just freaking do it. We called his parents and we were like, hey, like, we're grilling steaks. Any chance y'all want to come over? We got a few extra. So they came over and Tyler and I went back to Walmart to get his dad a birthday present, because the funny thing was, whenever I went get the onesie for Tyler to surprise him, as I was walking past the clothing section, there was a shirt that said, the best dads get promoted to grandpa. And it was, like, in lieu of Father's Day for, like, people who were pregnant. And I was like, oh, how perfect. But I didn't think to get it. So when I told Tyler they had that shirt at Walmart, because he was like, well, I got to go get my dad something to open, like, to surprise him. And I was like, wait, I got the perfect idea. Like, this is at Walmart. And he was like, well, why didn't you just get it? I'm like, because I didn't know how you wanted to tell your dad. So Tyler and I went back to Walmart, got, like, a gift bag, his dad, the shirt, and then came back home and started cooking, and then his parents came over. Okay, so now what I'm using is the Milani Luminoso blush. I love this blush. So we were just, like, all talking, and I'm like, Charlie, go get your dad's birthday present. And his mom was like, oh my god, you did not have to get him a birthday present. I'm like, it's his birthday tomorrow. Like, yes, we have to get him a birthday present. And it was in a Father's Day bag, and I was like, I'm so sorry. I thought I grabbed a happy birthday bag, but I grabbed a happy Father's Day bag. But don't worry, you're still getting a Father's Day gift this weekend. And he was like, oh, look, I don't care. So he opened the bag, and it was the t-shirt. And at first, his mom read it before his dad did. So his mom looked at me, she was like, you're pregnant? And it was a big happy moment. So yeah, so we surprised his parents. Everything went really good. And then we surprised my parents the next day. I'm going to go in now with the same bronzer and just do my eyelids. So yes, Tuesday comes around and I text my mom that morning and I'm like, hey, Tyler's been talking about wanting to see our house, because at this point Tyler hadn't seen my parents' new house. They're building a house right now and he hadn't seen the house at all. So I texted her that morning. I was like, hey, Tyler and I were talking yesterday and he wants to go see our house. We're gonna go after work. Do you think you and Dad will be there? And she was like, yeah, we have to meet with the contractor actually, so we'll be there. And I was like, oh, okay, perfect. We'll see y'all there. So Tyler and I both got off of work. We met there. My dad gets there first, and like it took forever and a day for my mom to get there. So for like 20 minutes, we were just talking with my dad. So we're just like walking around the house talking. Finally, my mom shows up. And, you know, we're just like walking around. We're asking them like how all the stuff is going, all that jazz. And then finally, like, the contractor starts pulling up. And I'm like, oh my God, it's now or never, because like they're about to have this whole meeting with this contractor. So I was like, Mom, you think the house is going to be done for February? Mind you, I'm due in February, but it was like the only way that like I could get it out. So like, this is what I said. I said, Mom, do you think the house is going to be done in February? And she was like, oh yeah, like it'll probably be done for like January. And I was like, oh, thank God, because I'm going to need a place to have my baby shower. And then I just stopped. And she looked at me and she was like, it took her a second. Like, she didn't realize what I just said. She was like, are you pregnant? And I was like, yeah. And so, like, they started freaking out. And the first thing my dad was like, are you going to find out what it is? Because, like, my dad wants a grandson so bad. I'm just taking the Morphe setting spray. I'm going to spray my face. So we had told my parents that they were so excited. So then at this point, both of our parents knew. We told them that we were still super early and that we just couldn't hold it in and we wanted to tell them, but we're still really early. So like, don't say anything. We have no plans to tell anybody. And then crazy enough, that following week, like the week after Father's Day weekend, it kind of just started coming out the bag. Like, my mom, like, Miss Peggy, Tyler's mom, she was dying inside to tell her mom. My mom wanted to tell her mom. My mom wanted to tell her sister. And, like, everybody was just so excited. So we kind of just, like, started telling one person at a time. And then it just became everybody knows. At this point, y'all, I was only, like, 4 weeks, like 4.5 weeks. So I was still super, super early, and we probably shouldn't have been telling people that early because we didn't even know if there was a heartbeat yet. But, so yeah, like, at this point, everybody, like, all our really close friends and family knew. We couldn't even contain our excitement, and we just let it out. Cat's out the bag. I'm going to go ahead and do my mascara. I'm using the Voluminous Lash Paradise. I'll be back after I do this. Okay, so I'm done with my makeup. I just did my everyday go-to routine. But, yeah, so we told everybody a lot sooner than we should have, but can't go back and change it now. I'm going to go ahead and just do a quick rundown of my first trimester symptoms and kind of how I'm feeling now. So my first trimester, obviously I had sensitive boobs, but honestly the worst part for me was TMI, my nipples. For some reason my nipples like stayed out there, and that's like, that never really happens for me unless I'm cold. And that was honestly the worst part, was that they just wouldn't go down. They stayed ready to play the second I woke up to the second I went to sleep. It was rough, especially like wearing any kind of bras or anything like that. Not wearing a bra, like it was painful. So that was the biggest part for the boobs for me. I also had food aversions, but not like any specific kind of food. I just didn't want to eat. Like, the week after I found out I was pregnant, like when we really started telling everybody, I had no appetite at all. There was nothing that I wanted to eat. I honestly was not hungry, which is strange because usually you would think you are hungry because most women have an increased sense of appetite, but not me. I was like not hungry at all. I didn't crave anything. I didn't want anything. So I was kind of just like for 2 weeks, I was just blah. Also, constipation, let's talk about that. You know how for most pregnant women, constipation is a sign of pregnancy? Yeah, that was completely opposite for me. I am someone who's not the most regular. So what was funny for me was the fact that I was doing the opposite. Like, every single day, 3 to 4 times a day, I was going, which was so not normal for me. So not normal. So it's almost like it had a complete adverse reaction on me. Don't know what that was about. And also I would get stomach aches. Like, I would wake up in the morning and have a stomach ache. Like, if I ate something bad the night before. And it happened weekly, like, or daily. It would happen like every other day. I'd wake up to go to work and I would just wake up with a stomach ache, like stomach cramps. But it wasn't like period cramps. It was like a stomach ache. So that was also weird. The burping, I still burp to this day. I burp an obscene amount. I don't know why, but I don't really have indigestion. Like, I don't have heartburn. I don't have any of that. I never had nausea. I got sick once, but I really do think I had a stomach bug because it was a weekend. It was a Saturday. And that whole entire day, I laid on the couch and I just wasn't feeling good. And Tyler wanted to go somewhere that night to a friend's house. And I was like, no, like, I'm going to stay home. Like, I don't feel like myself. And I thought it was pregnancy. So, like, he had brought me to a dollar store. I got me, like, some ice cream and some candy. And I was just going to have myself a little movie night. Well, halfway through the movie, I got, like, so tired. So I ended up getting ready for bed. And I was laying in bed. And, like, I woke up. It was, like, 11 o'clock. I woke up and ran to the bathroom and just started throwing up. So I texted Tyler and I called him and I was like, hey, like, I'm throwing up, like, can you come home? So he came home, but I was able to go to sleep. And the next morning I started throwing up again. So I thought it was morning sickness because I would have thought for sure that, like, if it was a stomach bug, I would have thrown up consecutively throughout the night. But I didn't. I was able to sleep, and then when I woke up, I started throwing up again. So I was like, okay, well, maybe it is pregnancy. But after that, I never was nauseous nor threw up ever again. So that was really the only time, but, like, never had morning sickness, was never nauseous. If I did get nauseous, it was whenever I would go to sleep. But I was also taking my prenatals at night, so I think that could have had something to do with it too. But, like, never really got sick ever. I was super, super tired. I would wake up, and then by, like, 9 o'clock, I was ready to go back to sleep. It was a whole different kind of level of tired. I'm a tired girl. I like to sleep. I mean, I don't take naps or anything, but, like, I like my sleep at night. I go to bed early, and I typically, if I don't have to get up for work, I typically will wake up like 7:30. So, like, I like to sleep. I'm a good sleeper. I won't sleep during the day. I don't take naps, but I do love my sleep. And it was just a whole different kind of tired. Like, it was to the point where, like, I could just close my eyes and fall asleep like that. I did have some back pain, but what was interesting was the back pain was by my tailbone. And, like, I was asking a bunch of my coworkers, I'm like, is this normal? Like, my tailbone was sore. Almost like, you know how, like, if you do a workout on the ground and you do, like, a lot of sit-ups or any kind of that strenuous activity, you know how, like, if you lay wrong, your tailbone will be really, really sore the next day and it'll hurt? That's exactly how mine was. And I was like, why would my tailbone be sore? It wasn't, like, lower back pain. It was, like, straight up my tailbone. And everyone was saying, I mean, like, it could be, like, your pelvic floor, like, you know, like, your hips and all that are, I guess, moving, widening. So that was strange. Also, I was really hormonal on certain days. Usually every other day, I was my normal self. But there would just be these random days where, like, I got so depressed and just cried. Like, there was nothing for me to cry about, but I was just so down. I felt depressed. I felt sad. I did not feel like myself. And like I said, it wasn't every day. Usually every other day I was good. I've been doing really good since finding out I was pregnant. Like, I've had, honestly, the best pregnancy so far. I've been very blessed. I've had the mildest symptoms, like, honestly, throughout, from the beginning till now. I feel like myself. I mean, of course, I had some days, like these hormonal days, where, like, I just did not feel like myself. But for the most part, I feel like me. For a long time, I didn't even feel pregnant, which freaked me out. Because I'm like, I don't feel pregnant. What's wrong with me? Something's wrong. And everybody would tell me if something was wrong, you would know. You wouldn't feel like yourself if something was wrong. And I was like, okay, this is weird. Like, no one prepares you for feeling normal during pregnancy. Everyone prepares you for, oh, you're going to be so sick, you're going to be this, you're going to be miserable. And it's like, I wasn't. I, like, honestly had been living my best life since being pregnant. Besides, like, the minor few symptoms, I'm a happy gal. Like, I'm good to go. So that was pretty much the only symptoms I had, and they were very rare and, like, just very every other day. It wasn't something I had to deal with every single day. I had more days where I felt not pregnant than I felt pregnant. August, we had the gender reveal, and it is a little boy. We're not sharing his name on social media yet, but all of our friends and family know, just because people are crazy and they, like, steal your names. And I know you think I'm being dramatic, but I know people who have, like, friends who have gotten pregnant, and, like, you know how, you know, you're girls and you're talking about, like, oh, your future, and you share your babies' names and all this. Well, I know people who have named their babies after their friends' baby names. Like, that's not, no. So, we're not sharing his name, and that might be crazy to me. You might be saying, like, who cares if someone names their kid the same? But, like, I care, because it's the whole point. Because you have people who can't figure out what they want to name their babies, and they just don't know, and then they see this name on social media, and they're like, oh, I love that name. And, like, I don't want to be, like, 3 months left to go, and, like, I'm scrolling on Facebook, and someone has the exact same name because we shared our name. Like, that would upset me. But we're just going to wait till the baby's here to share it on social media. But, I mean, our friends and family know. And then, second trimester. So, I'm actually 21 weeks today. Anatomy scan was great. Everything looked beautiful. They kind of got nervous about my cervix and my uterus. They looked really close together, which is an indication that I would need a C-section. I guess because, like, I read somewhere where, like, it could cause preterm labor. So they probably would schedule me for a C-section if that were the case. But she ended up going with a vaginal ultrasound so she could really see what was going on in there. It all actually looked fine. So I think they're still just going to keep a watch on just in case. But I think for now I'm good. But yeah, he looks completely healthy. We also did the genetic testing for, like, Down syndrome and I think 3 other hormones they look for. And that all came back negative, so that's good. But yeah, I'm in my second trimester and I'm feeling better than ever. I get tired in the afternoons, but that's honestly, like, not out of the normal. I mean, I'm on my feet all day. I work, like, that's expected. I have no desire to eat, like, meat. I'll eat meat if it's, like, in a sandwich, like a fried chicken sandwich. Like, what else? Like, I've been cooking chicken quesadillas a lot. That's been something I've been eating. As long as the meat is not, like, by itself, like a grilled chicken breast or, like, hamburger steaks or, like, anything just, like, by itself, I'll eat it. But if it's just, like, that, then I have no desire to eat it. It completely disgusts me. Tyler's upset because all he wants to do is grill. He hasn't been able to right now because he's on a turnaround. But the weekend before he started his turnaround, he was like, oh my God, let's grill. And I was like, you're more than welcome to grill, but I don't want a single piece of that meat. So it just sucks because we went from, like, literally grilling outside every weekend to, like, not doing that at all. Because I have even from the beginning, like, I just have no desire to eat meat at all. Steak completely disgusts me. But really, besides, like, some minor food aversions, I've been super, super normal. The burping is still there. I'm starting to feel him kick now. He's starting to kick. I can actually feel it. Tyler felt him kick for the first time, like, 2 nights ago. He's still super tiny, so, like, you really have to focus. Like, he just kicked right now. You really have to focus on, like, whenever your hand is on my belly, you really gotta, like, focus. Because it's still so minor, but, like, if he kicks hard enough, you can feel it. Another thing, I kind of knew I was having a boy because I wanted nothing sweet. I am such a sweet fiend, and that was one of the things that I was dealing with at the beginning, was that I wanted nothing sweet. Like, usually when I eat something, the second after I'm done eating, I'm looking for something sweet. I never went to bed without eating something sweet, whether it was a bowl of cereal, a handful of M&Ms, like, I just love chocolate. I love sweets. And what was funny was that when I found out I was pregnant, I wanted none of that. Not like nothing. So that kind of told me like, I think you might be having a boy, but I also didn't really know. We just wanted a healthy baby, but everybody kept asking me like, what do you feel? And I was like, I've had 2 dreams that it's a boy. I think it's a boy, but I also feel like because I think it's a boy, it's a girl. So I didn't really know what to expect, but it is a boy. Everybody's so excited because everybody wanted a boy on both sides of the family. Everybody wanted a boy. So my dad finally gets his grandson, which is exciting. Tyler gets to carry on his family name. Now I want fruity stuff. Skittles, Starburst, Laffy Taffies. That is like, give it to me. I, for some reason, am obsessed with that candy right now. I don't really fiend for chocolate. I'll eat it, but like, I don't really care for it right now. I don't crave it, which is weird because I normally would crave it all the time. But yeah, I'm just like more, like the other day I went to the gas station and I got an icy. I couldn't even tell you the last time I got an icy. Probably when I was a child. Like, at just all the fruit sweet stuff, like, just sounds so good. So I've been trying to eat a lot of fruit to stay away from the candy. But really the only fruit that's been appetizing to me is strawberries. I buy bananas, but like, I never really eat them. And I used to love bananas before, but I don't eat them as much as I used to. So really strawberries and apples. Those have been the 2 fruits that like I've been eating almost every single day is strawberries and apples. Those are my 2 go-tos. But yeah, let me go ahead and show you the bump. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. But you can see part of it. My camera's lifted up a little bit. But yeah, so I am now going to go run my errands. And I appreciate you guys watching this whole video of me getting ready and talking about my pregnancy. And stay tuned for the 3rd trimester update that I'm going to be filming in a few short weeks once I get into my 3rd trimester. I probably won't put another video until I have my baby shower, which will be in December. So that way I can like talk about things and all of that. But yeah, that's the end of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.